Today, we're diving into the story of one of the most unpredictable, revolutionary, and just, well, fascinating figures in the history of sports, the one and only René Higuita. This is a man who wasn't just a goalkeeper, he was an entire spectacle rolled into one.
And this quote? This tells you everything you need to know about him. Higuita's entire career was basically a rebellion against playing it safe. It was a high-wire act where the only real crime was being boring. So what's with the number 43? Well, that is the number of official career goals he scored. Let that sink in. A goalkeeper scoring more goals in his career than a lot of professional strikers. It's an absolutely mind-bending statistic. Now, we've all seen this, right? The scorpion kick. It's one of the most replayed moments in sports history, period. But what's really wild is that this iconic, almost mythical moment, it actually came after his prime. The full story of the man they called El Loco is so much crazier. So let's start with the legend himself, El Loco, or the Madman. And believe me, it was a nickname he earned by shattering every single rule about what a goalkeeper was supposed to be. Just look at this. In his very first professional season, Higuita, the goalkeeper, remember, had a goals per game average of 0.43. To put that into perspective for you, that's higher than Cristiano Ronaldo's average during his entire legendary first run at Manchester United. A goalie outscoring one of the all-time greats. It's unbelievable. But he was so much more than just goals. He was arguably the first true sweeper keeper, decades before it became a thing. We're talking about a guy who would take the ball in his own box and just dribble the entire length of the field. Many will argue he's the greatest penalty stopper of all time. And then there's the other side of the coin. His life off the field was just as chaotic, which included a personal friendship with the world's most wanted man, Pablo Escobar. So how does a character like this even come to exist? I mean, to really understand the madness, you have to go all the way back to the beginning, to a childhood that, honestly, might surprise you. That's Higuita in his own words. He grew up in a really tough neighborhood, right under the nose of the Medellin cartel. He was abandoned by his father and raised by his grandmother after his mother passed away. And she did everything she could think of to keep him safe. She made him an altar boy, she even had him join the Boy Scouts, anything to keep him off those dangerous streets.
His journey to becoming a goalkeeper was a total accident. He was a talented goal scorer, but on the one day scouts came to watch his team, every single one of their goalkeepers was either sick or injured. So Higuita, who was always up for anything, volunteered to go in goal. By the end of that match, he was the #1 name on the scouts list, and from there, his rise was just meteoric.
Now, this raw talent didn't just make him a star. He became the symbol of a golden age for Colombian football, leading this incredible generation of players like Valderrama and Asprilla. And what was so crucial was that his manager, Francisco Maturana, didn't try to tame him. No, instead, he saw the genius in the madness. He realized Higuita wasn't a liability, he was a revolutionary weapon. He literally built his entire system around a goalkeeper who played like an extra midfielder. So the stage was set in 1989 for the biggest club competition in South America, the Copa Libertadores. Now, at the time, no Colombian team had ever won it. It was this national obsession, a symbol of always being left out of the party that was dominated by Argentina and Brazil. The final against Olympia went to a penalty shootout, and what happened next is pure legend. Higuita didn't just participate, he took over the whole thing. He saves the first penalty. Then, when his team is on the verge of being knocked out, he steps up and scores his own penalty to keep them alive. Then he goes on to save 3 more spot kicks, single-handedly dragging his team over the finish line. Atlético Nacional were champions of South America for the first time ever, and René Higuita was a national hero. But after reaching the absolute pinnacle, the story takes a really dramatic turn. The 1990 World Cup would showcase both his genius and his fatal flaw, and the dark aftermath, well, it would change his life forever. His World Cup performance was really a perfect summary of his entire career. Against the giants of West Germany, he was absolutely fearless, inspiring his terrified teammates to a historic draw. But then, against Cameroon, disaster. He tried to dribble past the striker Roger Milla way out of his goal, lost the ball, and Cameroon scored. Just like that, Colombia was out. And that one mistake would haunt him for years. His on-field career was a roller coaster. but his off-field life was about to spiral even further out of control. So how on earth did the hero of the Libertadores find himself behind bars just a few years later?
The sequence of events is just surreal. First, he publicly visits his friend, the drug lord Pablo Escobar, in his custom-built luxury prison. Then, later, he gets asked by a rival drug lord to act as a go-between in a kidnapping case. Higuita delivers a $300,000 ransom, the victim is freed, but then he makes a huge mistake. He accepts a $50,000 reward for his help. Under Colombian law, profiting from a kidnapping, even if you had good intentions, made you an accomplice. The consequences were severe. He was thrown in jail for 7 months, where he even went on a hunger strike to protest. The whole ordeal caused him to miss the 1994 World Cup, right in the absolute peak of his career. It was a devastating blow for him and for the entire nation.
But hey, this is René Higuita we're talking about. The story doesn't end in a prison cell. He came out with a massive chip on his shoulder, ready for one final, unbelievable act that would cement his legacy forever.
The scene is Wembley Stadium, the home of football. A friendly against England. A cross from Jamie Redknapp floats kind of harmlessly towards the goal. Any other keeper in history would just, catch it. But Higuita had been practicing something completely crazy. He let the ball go over his head, jumped forward, and kicked it away with his heels. The scorpion kick was born.
But you know what? The scorpion kick isn't even his most important legacy. After the incredibly dull and defensive 1990 World Cup, where keepers would waste time by constantly picking up back passes, FIFA was looking for a solution. And they saw one player who refused to play that boring style, Higuita. Inspired by his exciting, risk-taking approach, they changed the rules of football forever, creating the back pass rule we all know today. They literally nicknamed it the Higuita Law.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. In his own words, Higuita's impact was totally unique. Sure, Pelé and Maradona defined eras with their genius, but René Higuita, the madman from Castilla, was so revolutionary, so entertaining, and so utterly fearless that he forced the entire sport to change its rules just to keep up with him. What a legacy!